Welcome to the Elite Business Academy podcast, the favourite show for business owners and entrepreneurs to get their weekly fix of motivation and knowledge. Discover powerful strategies on how to build a successful business and techniques to create a positive life. And now, here's your host, motivational speaker, business coach and founder of the EBA, Craig Wilkinson.
Welcome to the Elite Business Academy podcast. My name's Craig Wilkinson and I'm your host and coach for today's episode. During this episode, I'm going to be sharing with you how you can win back your valuable time by identifying and dealing with your time robbers. Never more so in business has our time become so valuable. Time is the most valuable commodity. Most people think it's money. It's not money, it's time. We can all earn more money, but we can never win back more time. If I can help you win back 5 hours, 10 hours, 15, 20 hours a week of your valuable time by implementing what I'm going to share with you in this episode, what would you spend the time on? Would you reinvest it back into your business and work on other areas? Would you take that quality time out to spend it with your family? Or would you take up one of those hobbies that's been neglected because of business? Trust me, I know what it feels like to not be in control of my own time. I used to work 80, 90 hours a week in my construction company. I did that for almost 12 long, hard years. But as part of the coaching and the development that I've been through over the last 10 years, I learned about time management. By understanding and implementing some time management strategies, I went from working 80 plus hours a week to working just 8 hours, 1 day a week in my business that ran like clockwork because I had the time to bring in the right staff and systemize my business. By understanding and dealing with just one area of time management, which is time robbers, made a massive difference and a massive impact to me almost immediately. So I believe sharing some very simple strategies and tips can help you do the same. Grab a pen, grab a piece of paper, get a notepad and start to make notes on what I'm about to share with you right now. The first thing that we have to understand and grab the concept of when we're talking or dealing with anything to do with time management is we have to start thinking of our time as being put into a bank. So just like you put your money into a bank and withdraw it, I want you to start to think about your time being a time bank. So at the beginning, at the start of every single week, you are given 168 hours that you put into your time bank ready to spend. Now, I've never met anybody who said to me, Craig, I've got more than 168 hours in a week or I've got less. We've all got the same amount of hours in our time bank at the start of each week. So how comes and how is it that some people manage to get everything done within time and still have time left over to use how they want to use it, yet others are running round like busy fools, spinning loads of plates like headless chickens, and they get to the end of each day, each week and each month, and still there's a to-do list as long as your arm. How is that possible? Well, there are two types of business owners or people when it comes to time. The savvy ones, the clever ones, the ones that seem to manage the time and still have got time left in their time bank are the ones who analyse and watch where every single hour of their time is being spent. Then there are those busy, full business owners. You know the ones who have got no concept of time, the ones who don't plan, who have got no strategies, who are just winging it. The ones that keep saying yes to everybody, to every situation and every task that's put in front of them. And it's those people that get to the end of their week and their 168 hours of their time bank has run dry and there's nothing left. Therefore, they start the following week already with a minus negative amount of time in their time bank. And once you get on that slippery slope, there is no end to time controlling you. And when time controls you, you are not in control of your own business. So I started off this podcast episode talking about something called time robbers. What do I mean by time? Well, these are tasks or people that come to you each day, each week, to rob some of the 168 hours of your time bank. And you naturally, as a business owner, because a lot of us are control freaks and we think that we're the only person in our business that can do specific roles and tasks, keep nodding our head and saying yes to everybody and anybody. And that then starts to drain our time. Now, what we have to understand is there are two different types of time robbers. The first time robber is what we call time drains. I'll say that again, time drains. And these are random daily tasks that drain your time bank dry. For example, emails, dealing with customers and clients and internal teams' emails, phone calls, social media, internet, surfing the internet, doing research, doing paperwork. All these are just standard day-to-day tasks that are going to drain your time. So time drains are all the tasks that you undertake on a daily or weekly basis that's going to rob you of your 168-hour time bank. The second time robber are time bandits. I'll say that again. Time bandits. And time bandits are people who want to rob you dry. They want to steal your time bank to suit their own needs. Let me give you examples of time bandits. Customers and clients, sales representatives, members of staff, pointless meetings, and family and friends are all time bandits. Now just stop for a minute and think about the time drains. How much time do you waste every day on emails, phone calls, paperwork, social media that's not productive and not generating you any results? Then think of the time bandits, your employees, your subcontractors, your freelancers, the sales reps, the pointless meetings, all the people that need to come to you to ask for help or advice. How much time are they stealing from your time bank? Now, the savvy business owners will be able to tell you exactly where their time is being spent. Why? Because they'll keep a time log or a time audit of where their time's been spent. The busy fool business owners who are winging it will just say it's probably an hour or 2 hours a day. Well, let me tell you this. If you do not know where your time is being spent in your business and you think it's 2 hours wasted, I can tell you now to double it. You will be wasting double the amount of time that you initially think. What I'm going to give you now are 3 tips that you can start to implement in your business just like I did 10 years ago, that's going to help you sort out your time drains, sort out your time bandits, and give you your time back. Tip number 1. Let's identify all our time drains and time bandits up front so we can do something about it. So grab either a notepad and pen or open an Excel spreadsheet, and over a week's period, I want you to write down all your time drains and all your time bandits so you can crystal clear see where your time is being drained each week. And at the end of that week, when you look back at your drains and your bandits, I'm pretty sure that you'll be surprised about actually how many different drains and bandits there are. Tip number 2. Creating a time log or a time audit of the amount of time you're currently spending on your time drains and your time bandits. To do this, I'm going to ask you to head over to a couple of websites to download a free time logging app onto your smartphones. If you're an Apple user, head over to www.hourstimetracking.com. That's hourstimetracking.com. And if you're an Android user, head over to a website, timelogger.com. That's timelogger.com. So once you've downloaded and opened the app, I want you to populate the app with all your time drains and your time bandits. And then starting at the beginning of a week on a Monday morning, every time you do a time drain or you have a time bandit come and try and steal your time, you log it on the app by simply clicking a button that starts the timer next to that drain or bandit, and then when it finishes, you press stop and it logs the time specifically on the app. Then, at the end of the week, the app will provide you with a full-blown detailed report of the amount of time spent on each drain and each bandit. Now, we've got the exact time data to understand and see exactly where and who is robbing and stealing your time each week. Which leads us on to the final tip, tip number 3, which is systemizing and delegating your drains and your bandits to somebody else. Here's exactly what you need to do. First of all, look at the drains or the bandits that's taken up the most amount of your time during that week. Then I want you to ask yourself these 2 questions. Question number 1. As the managing director, as the CEO, as the proprietor, as the leader of this business, should I be undertaking that specific time drain or dealing with those time bandits? Question number 2. Is there somebody out there that's better skilled and better qualified to do this time drain or deal with the time bandits to free up my valuable time? If the answer to both questions is no, then clearly you are the only person in your entire organisation or business that can undertake those tasks and deal with those bandits, so you have to continue doing them, or otherwise it could be at the cost of your business. If, on the other hand, you've answered yes to both questions, then it's now time to delegate that drain and that bandit to somebody else. And when I say somebody else, I know that there might be people listening to this podcast who are small businesses. They might be just a one-person band, and you might not have got staff to delegate roles or responsibilities to. I get that. But there are virtual PAs, there are freelancers across the entire world that can help you out with phone calls, with emails, with social media, with booking meetings and dealing with customers and clients. You don't have to do everything in your business. By learning the skill of delegation, not only are you going to free up some of your own valuable time to spend on more important areas of your business, you also start to systemize your business so it starts to run without you working in it. Now, if you're going to delegate a drain or a bandit to somebody else, you have to have a system or a process written down or in video format that other person can work through. It's like an instruction manual of what you want them to do. And this is where a lot of business owners have attempted to delegate roles, let's say, to other people in the past, and the other person has not fully understood what needs to be done. So they mess up, they cock up, which then leads the business owner to think, hang on a minute, I've wasted all that time showing somebody, I've actually paid them to do it, and they've messed it up. By the time I've shown them how to do it, I might as well do it myself and do it right in the first place. So you continue to do that role or that task, which starts to bog you down as a business owner, and you start to do tasks and things that you shouldn't be doing. And that's the whole point of this podcast. So please, get yourself a process or a system that's written down, or like I say, you can video your screen if it's a screen recording. Make sure that the person that's going to undertake that drain or that time bandit knows fully how that system works. Then you delegate it. What we're not talking about here is abdication, which is basically where you verbally tell someone and show somebody very quickly what you want them to do, and then you leave them to their own devices. Trust me, I tried to build a business years ago on abdication, and that is what got me working 8 to 8 hours a week. This is the power in identifying where your time is being spent, because once we understand where it's being spent and we look at it and we ask ourselves those 2 questions, we can then start to do something about it. We can then start to put a system and a process in place to make sure that somebody can follow it, and then we can delegate that role to somebody that's probably more skilled and more qualified to do that task quicker, easier and more efficient than we could do in any case. These are the first 3 tips that I learned about time management. And once I'd implemented these 3 tips and I asked myself those 2 simple questions, within a 3-month period, I'd gained 26 hours of my working week back. 26 hours off 80 to 90 hours a week. That's a staggering amount of time. But I didn't just leave it there. What I did is I continued to work 80, 90 hours a week, but I reinvested those 26 hours on looking at my next big chunk of areas of time that were being spent in my business. And I followed the same 3 steps and asked myself the same 2 questions. And over a period of 18 months, I got my working week down to working 8 hours. Why? Because number 1, I'd identified where my time was being spent. Number 2, I put a system and a process in place that somebody else could follow. And number 3, I delegated that task, that bandit, that drain to somebody else that were far better qualified to deal with that than me, to free up my time. And it worked. And it can work for you too. Think about it. The knowledge I've just shared with you now, the online tools and apps I've just shared with you, everything is free. This process doesn't cost you anything. The only thing that you need to do is take massive action and implement what I've just shared. And this process, these tips are fantastic, because not only do you get your valuable time back, but you also start to systemize your business, you delegate it, which means you start to build a business that runs without you in it. And I didn't understand how valuable that was up until somebody approached me about buying my building company. And the reason why they wanted to buy it is the business made profit and it ran like clockwork without me working in it. And for me, that is what a business is. It's a tool that provides you with profit, that provides you with a level of lifestyle, but a lifestyle where you can be happy and enjoy the spare time that you've got. A business is not when you become a slave to your job forever, where you're working ridiculous hours being dictated to by customers, clients, employees and members of staff. That is not a business. That is the toughest job in the world. If you've got value from this podcast episode and you're wanting more free help, support and advice on how you can grow not just your business but you as a person and grow your life, please head over to our website www elitebusinessacademy.co.uk, where we've got tons of free resources, downloads, PDFs, videos on there that can help you grow your business. Likewise, if you've not already joined our Facebook group and our Facebook community, please head over to our Facebook group, which is www.facebook.com/groups/Elite Business Academy. So that's been Craig Wilkinson, your host for today's episode. Thank you for tuning in and joining me, and I'll see you over on our next show. Thank you. Thank you for listening to my podcast episode. If you're new to our channel, could I encourage you to hit the subscribe button. Below this video, I've put together a playlist of all the other episodes in our podcast show. One last thing, if I can ask you to turn on the bell to notify you of future episodes.